Its arrival at Kharkiv station marks the start of a journey to the Netherlands, where the bodies can be formally identified and returned to their loved ones.
As soon as a number of victims is ready for transport, a plane will leave for Eindhoven. The hope and expectation.
International monitors say parts of the plane's wreckage have been interfered with. Uniformed men are accused of using power saws to cut it up. We'll have all the latest from Ukraine and from Brussels, where EU leaders are discussing what action to take against Russia. Also this lunchtime, Israeli forces hit dozens of targets in Gaza overnight as Hamas continue to fire rockets into central and southern Israel. 8 years after his murder, the government announces a public inquiry into the death of dissident Russian and spy Alexander Litvinenko. An inquiry into the so-called Trojan horse allegations finds clear evidence of an aggressive Islamist agenda in some Birmingham schools. And by George, the Royal Prince is 1 year old today.
In the Midlands, more on the Trojan horse plot, as a former local education officer says he raised concerns over a decade ago. And a new era of long-haul flights from China touches down in Birmingham.
Good afternoon and welcome to the BBC News at 1. A train carrying the bodies of most of the 298 victims on board the Malaysian Airlines plane, which was shot down over eastern Ukraine, has arrived in the city of Kharkiv, which is controlled by the Ukrainian authorities. The bodies will be flown on to the Netherlands tomorrow. Pro-Russian separatists have also handed over the 2 black box flight recorders to experts from Malaysia. They've also announced a ceasefire around the crash site, but there are renewed allegations that the wreckage has already been seriously interfered with. In Brussels, European foreign ministers are meeting to discuss tightening sanctions against Russia because of its backing of the rebel separatist fighters blamed for shooting down the aircraft. Our correspondent, Natalia Antilava, sent this report.
It took 4 days of tense negotiations for this to finally happen. And when it did, rebels turned their handover of flight data recorders of MH17 into a ceremony. Journalists were summoned at midnight to witness the signing of what rebels called a memorandum of understanding. The rebel side represented by this man, Alexander Borodai. He's a Russian citizen and an alleged Russian military intelligence operative, now in the spotlight as a self-declared Prime Minister of the separatist Republic of Donetsk.
I would like to convey our sincere appreciation to His Excellency
And finally, most of the bodies of Kharkiv, which is under government control.
As soon as a number of victims is ready for transport, a plane will leave for Eindhoven. The hope and expectation is that tomorrow, at the end of the day, the first plane will leave for Eindhoven.
It does finally feel like a breakthrough, but it is so important to remember that the bodies of at least 18 passengers are still out here somewhere in these fields. The agonizing wait for answers too is far from over. It's forensic examination of parts of the aircraft that could determine what missile was used and who fired it. But the spokesman for the OSCE in Ukraine says large parts of the wreckage now look different from before.
This is in addition to an observation we made 2 days ago that the cockpit section and the aft of the first class section, which is in about 2 kilometers from here, we observed uniformed men cutting into that with a diesel power saw.
This enormous area of the crash holds clues that are possibly more important than the information from the black boxes. But there are fears it has been tampered with, and it's in the middle of a war zone. The day the first investigators arrived, Donetsk saw some fresh clashes between pro-Kremlin militiamen and pro-government troops. Rebels are clearly feeling the pressure, and they have promised full access to the site. But experts fear that crucial evidence littering these fields has already been lost. Natalia and Solano, BBC News, Grabovo, Ukraine.
Full-time correspondent Richard Galpin is there, and the train is there, Richard. So what happens next?
Essentially, I think what's going to happen is that the teams of forensics experts who are already here in Kiev, they've been waiting a while, they will go to the train to examine the bodies. And we understand there's a team from Britain here, as well as obviously from Malaysia, from Indonesia, from Holland, all the countries which have been affected. Now, once they've examined the bodies, it'll be a sort of thorough process.
That's orange on TV. They were pretty clear they're too cheap to get up print. So talk them out of it, or into it. I'd love to, but I think it demands a media strategy. Grit, research, and Harry Crane on it. Look at you.
Hey, not all surprises are bad. The ants, they look like people.
He should be right out. Is there anything I can get you?
I think she would like a cup of tea.
In a teacup.
Excited we didn't have to go on Dan's plane to present. Hello, Mother.
Hello, Peter.
Manolo, may I speak with you a moment?
Of course, Mr. Campbell. Turkey is coming.
I'll be fine. I'm not a child.
Peggy, would you mind?
Mrs. Campbell, nice to meet you. There's no reason for you to be so formal, dear. Sit with me. How are you today? I can't tell you how much it relieves me to see you and Peter reunited. Well, it was really a byproduct of the merger. But thanks to all of you